Hey, it's Evan. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful 8 podcast. In today's episode, calling attention to our center, we're talking about how to live a true and authentic life, you must live in the now at all times of your day. Listen, the eternal now is all that exists. For example, what you're doing right now is you're either listening to me talk or you're watching and listening to me talk. That is the only thing that exists for you right now, here in this moment. Yes, you can say, I'm thinking of something that happened yesterday, or I'm thinking of something that's going to happen tomorrow, but that's just a thought. And you're thinking of something in the now, right? Does that make sense to you? You're thinking of something that happened yesterday, and you're thinking of something that's going to happen tomorrow, but you're thinking those thoughts in the eternal now. So why I always encourage people to call attention to your center is because once you call attention to your center, you're staying grounded in the eternal now. You're embracing the eternal now, one of the only four things that matters. So living in the past is always going to result in anxious thoughts, feelings, and false emotion, because you have anxiety of what happened, and you're taken away from the beauty of the eternal now. And in return, you start to get anxious. And then in the future, you become depressed, because you're depressed of what's to come. You're scared, you're fearful of what's to come. This results in a depressive state. Now, the eternal now, what does it result in? Pure bliss. Joy, the joy of being. The joy of being doesn't exist in the future. It's not the joy of being in the future, because the future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is now, the eternal now. So once we call attention to our center, we realize that our center is always focused, while we may not know it or not, is always focused on the now. So, do not live in the past. Do not live in the future. If you live in the past, this will result in anxiety. If you live in the future, this will result in depression. But if you live in the eternal now, if you call attention to your center and live in the eternal now, you will have pure bliss in your life. You will have joy. You will choose happiness, because you're calling attention to your center and you're becoming aware and conscious that if your eternal now is not okay, you have the power to change it now. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, now. There's a sense of urgency when it comes to understanding the eternal now. Because when we call attention to our center, it's breathing in and breathing out. And as a result, we become aware through our senses of all that's happening in the physical dimension. These thoughts of yesterday and tomorrow are false. While we can think of goals and where we want to go, we're not going to get there unless we do the work in the now. I believe that makes sense to you. Because if we want to be somewhere tomorrow, that thought happened in the now. And to get to where we want to go tomorrow, we put in that work, we take that first step forward in the now. It's a really simple concept once you grasp it. It's a really simple concept once you grasp it, once you understand it, right? This is what mindfulness is. Mindfulness doesn't happen tomorrow, and it didn't happen yesterday. It happens in the now. Once you feel called to do something, there's no point in putting it off, because putting it off is living an inauthentic life. Feeling called to film this video after a return from the gym and a shower, I wanted to do it now to keep things in motion. Energy in motion. Energy. I had the energy. Putting off that energy for tomorrow or for a week from now is living inauthentically. And if you want to live a true authentic life, you remain in the present moment. You're not always going to be in the present moment. You will have times, there will be times where you're caught off guard and you start living in the future or you start living in the past. That's a beautiful opportunity to call attention to your center and stay grounded. For example, are you truly listening to me right now, or are you doing something else? Are you truly watching me right now, or are you doing something else? Because if you're doing something else, you're not living in the present moment. Understanding time is finite is of the utmost importance. Money is trash. It's garbage. Money is infinite. Literally, like money gets printed every single day. Like a snap of the finger, the money just prints. Your time, however, is finite. You can't get 5 minutes ago back. That's why once you listen to me, for example, or watch me, be fully present in that moment, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can't be present listening to me or hearing me out, listening or hearing me out or watching me, how are you going to be present for anybody else? Are you present in the conversations you're having? Are you present when you're studying? Are you present when, you're watching a movie, right? Because humans aren't meant to multitask. We're meant to be doing one thing at one time. One thing can be whatever. One time, the eternal now. You're not doing one thing right now and focusing on the future or focusing on the past. You're focusing on the now. So, call attention to your center. Breathe in the air around you. Feel things with your hands, with your fingers. Feel the energy in your body. Feel your blood pulsing. Focusing on these things, doing energy awareness practices, body scans. These are all good ways to return to the present moment. So calling attention to your center is a phenomenal way to return to the present moment. I believe this resonated with you. This was an episode on calling attention to your center. I felt called to do this in the now, and I answered the call. If you enjoyed, you can do whatever you want. Leaving a like always helps. Leave a comment if this resonated with you. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, @Evan Senior. I love you all very much. Thank you for listening. Take care.